Welcome to day one of the mini poster presentations. This is a unique feature of our research conference, as you all know, or most of you know. And poster presenters have an opportunity not just to tell you about their displayed posters outside there, but also they have 1 minute to share with you their amazing research and tell you why you should visit their poster stand. So there will be 3 minute poster presentations over the course of the research conference, starting with today. We'll have one tomorrow and one on Thursday. And there will be a prize for the best poster each day. So 3 prizes in total are up for grabs. And voting will commence right after this session. So how does this work? Each poster presenter will come to the front of the room. And once they start speaking, there will be a countdown. You know this. So no pressure at all. As soon as the countdown ends, we'll clap for them. They'll return to their seats. Okay? And so then you'll give the mic to the next person. Okay, so we'll start with Mohammed Wasim Sajid. Please come forward.
Good afternoon. I'm here to present the part of my series of project, and a smaller part one I'm going to present here. We were documenting the contaminants in different foods, and here I'm going to present the milk samples documentation. We collected the milk from different spots and from the wholesalers, from the retailers, from the producers, and then we analyzed that milk samples against the pesticide residues and by using the GCECD, gas chromatography. And we found few of the residues, they were exceeding the maximum residue limit. And we also collected the data about the milk consumption of school going children. And after the comparison, we found that the chlorpyrifos was exceeding the maximum residue limit. It was also posing threat to the school going children. And now in Pakistan, chlorpyrifos is banned. So in a few years, we will be free of these organochlorine pesticides.
Thank you. Petena Belachiu.
Good afternoon. So this is a quasi-experimental study. So the aim of this study was to investigate the outcome of nutrition education on maternal-child diversity in the present and absence of nutrition-sensitive intervention. There was a nutrition-sensitive intervention implemented by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They provide both technical and non-technical support. So after that, we try to check the impact of the outcome of nutrition education by doing informative research and implement for 2 months. So after 2 months, we just analyze different baseline and underlying data, and finally, we found that integrating nutrition sensitive with BCC, nutrition specific intervention, improve maternal child diversity in our study area. So for more, please visit poster number 2. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Talentia Kumalo.
Good afternoon. So, smallholder farmers have proven to be essential in agriculture, yet their contributions are still overlooked. The study aimed to see for barriers and opportunities in Mshwati, South Africa. Using a mixed methods approach, the study found out that even though there are smallholder farmers that are practicing agro-processing, mainly home-based, which could be baking, juicing, and drying, there are still some issues that they face, and lack of access to good infrastructure, lack of access to finance, and then that then poses an issue to their livelihoods in a sense that they aren't included in the formal value chains. However, there were opportunities that were seen in that the farmers could
Thank you. Shibavan Kanesamuthi.
My poster is on the role of grassroots organizations in building resilient food systems. In northern Sri Lanka, decades of conflict and food insecurity have perpetuated intergenerational micronutrition deficiencies, especially among women and children. The Nourish North community, part of the slow food movement, is tackling this by empowering rural groups of mothers, youths, and farmers through participatory learning and action. By reviving indigenous knowledge and diversifying crops, households now incorporate wild edibles and traditional foods. Women diet diversity surged from 52 to 82 percentage, while advocacy secured land and water access. Partnerships with NGOs and local governments boosted markets and food festivals, strengthening resilience. This grassroots model proves that combining local wisdom and global support can break the cycle of malnutrition, offering a blueprint for similar regions worldwide.
Martin Paul Tabeojong.
Yeah, thank you very much. So livestock represents a really interesting part of rural communities because they really constitute rural livelihoods and they represent rural wealth, but little studies consider livestock commercialization and how this really links to the consumption of nutritious and healthy food. So what we did in this study was really to look at the impact of livestock communication on dietary diversity, which we capture using the Zambian food-based dietary guidelines. So using different kinds of econometric approaches, we see that indeed livestock commercialization increases the consumption of nutritious and healthy foods. And some of the foods that really respond to the increases of livestock commercialization are nutrient-dense foods, fruits and vegetables, as well as legumes and pulses. And we show that some of the impact pathways leading to this is really just increasing farm production diversity, but also income and rural employment. And we also find that gender is key. A lot of interesting results. Please come to my poster 5 and let's keep talking about this. Thank you very much.
Gabriela Pretes.
Imagine having to walk just 30 meters from your home or school to grab a sugary drink. That's the reality for many adolescents in urban Hanoi, Vietnam. In our study, we surveyed over 3,000 adolescents, 6,000 outlets, and 13 schools in urban, peri-urban, and rural areas of northern Vietnam in order to understand how adolescents interact with their food environments. We found that ultra-processed foods and sugar-sweetened beverages were much more available than fruits and vegetables everywhere. Urban adolescents not only had greater access in terms of distance, but also higher availability in terms of density of both healthy and unhealthy foods compared to their peri-urban and rural peers. Interestingly, school environments were not any less healthy than home environments. Are you curious about how we measure all this and what it means for policy? Come check out our poster number 7 to learn more. Thank you.
Florence Opondo.
Good afternoon, everyone. This study is part of the Pash Farm project, and we try to uncover some of the issues related to access to and consumption of fruits and vegetables from formal and informal retail markets, and also try to examine the gender dimensions influencing the same. The study was conducted in Eldoret, Kenya, and we also tried to understand some of the dimensions of market issues, and from the study, we realized that there's low consumption of fruits and vegetables and also market dimensions such as food safety, infrastructure, and accessibility, as well as regulations also influence access to and consumptions of fruits. And therefore, we suggest for targeted interventions around food safety and also nutrition education and creating an awareness. Thank you, and join us for more.
Rachel Gilbert.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Gilbert from Tufts University, and I am talking to you today about my work on meal preparation costs, which are an often hidden cost of why people choose certain foods. So I expand on a method to estimate the cooking cost given fuels that are available and their prices. I use data on fuel and food prices from Malawi to try and estimate a lower bound cost of what it would take to prepare each food. And I look at those differences across food groups. I also incorporate this cost into the cost affordability of healthy diets metric to understand how least cost diets would change when meal preparation costs are considered. If you want to hear more about the method and what it means in Malawi, you can come to poster number 9, and we can also talk more about cooking costs in general, so I can incorporate them more into this work. Thanks.
Thank you. Emmanuel Adesoji.
Good afternoon, everyone. Given the global need to assess and monitor food security, it is important to look at the relationship between food security indicators, since none of them captures all dimensions of food security. So the relationship between affordability of healthy diets and experience of food insecurity was assessed using the food price data and experiences of food insecurity by household extracted from the Nigerian Living Standard Survey of 2018-2019. According to the data, the average cost of healthy diet was 281 naira per person per day, and 31% of households could not afford this, while 58% of the household experienced food insecurity. Many factors were adjusted for in this analysis, but in summary, unaffordability of healthy diet by household raised them by 1.8-fold of experiencing food insecurity. To know more about this and how these factors affect food insecurity by household, join me at poster 10. Thank you very much.
Norbert Ngwan.
Thank you. In Cameroon, we observe that indigenous food systems are rapidly changing as a result of modernization, climate change, deforestation, land grab, amongst others. In a cross-sectional descriptive research design, we surveyed 298 households and found out that in the rural communities in Cameroon, as the reality, modernization and rural-urban development are the key causes to the changes in indigenous food systems. As barriers to access to indigenous wild foods and non-timber forest products, deforestation and natural disasters are core. We notice also from our results that these foods contribute majorly to the well-being and physical health of the rural dwellers. As a way forward, we recommend that indigenous local farmers be involved in policy actions that seek to conserve. Thank you.
Ediemi Udo.
Good afternoon, everyone. In Nigeria, we face a lot of, there's a critical paradox where millions are food insecure. We are over 200 million in Nigeria, and a substantial portion of the food is lost before it reaches the market. So the distance between the market and the farm, it's quite long. And this study addresses the contradiction by asking, can market-based innovation reduce post-harvest losses and simultaneously empower vulnerable groups, especially women and youth who are mostly involved in these processes? So what did we do? We conducted a regional survey across 5 farming communities in the southern part of Nigeria. We identified major post-harvest loss points and piloted solar power storage and mobile market alert. And what changed? 30% reduction in spoilage. In tomato, women-led cooperative adopted more of these tools, and we forged new partnership. Join me in poster 12 for more. Thank you very much.
In 2019, UNICEF decided to intentionally integrate the prevention of childhood overweight obesity into its 10-year nutrition strategy for the first time ever, aka working on food environment regulations. And since then, the agenda has scaled from 10 to 52 countries around the world within 6 of the 7 programming regions for UNICEF, all except West and Central Africa, for good reasons: lowest rates of under 5 childhood obesity and huge rates of stunting. However, big food giant gorillas are coming in, and we know what's going to happen while they push their ultra-processed products. So the qualitative study was looking at what were the secret ingredients for expanding the agenda in other regions of the world, and what are the existing barriers and facilitators in West and Central Africa for starting the agenda. And what we found with the diffusions of innovations theory is that we interviewed 18 country offices and regional offices around the world, and we looked at finding out that the conclusion, we wanted to basically put together a list of recommendations, come and find out what those recommendations are, including, interestingly enough, working on it without saying that you're working on it.
Thank you. I hope Naomi's next. Okay, good.
Hi everyone. Our study assessed dietary intakes of adolescent girls, adult women, men, and every 2 weeks for 1 year in 10 remote Himalayan villages of Nepal. We found that perishable fruits and vegetables that were produced locally had the greatest seasonality, as well as animal foods. Seasonality of intakes varied by nutrient, and the greatest variation was in vitamins A, C, and B12. When we analysed the contribution of different food types to nutrient intakes, the seasonality of green leafy vegetables was the main driver of vitamin A seasonality, whereas the seasonal intake of potato consumption drove vitamin C seasonality. Imported or locally grown stored cereals and oils showed little seasonality, so there was very little seasonal variation in protein, vitamin E, zinc, iron. Our study shows that dietary assessments in one season alone should be replaced by longitudinal studies. Thank you very much.
Okay, Hussein Ibrahim.
Thank you very much. This study examined how level of food insecurity severity predicts malnutrition rate and across rural and urban settings using panel data from Nigeria and General Household Survey. And the result we got is that rural areas face more food insecurity, face more malnutrition, more chronic malnutrition, including stunting and underweight, especially at least assets, crisis and emergency food insecurity level, while urban household also face food insecurity, malnutrition, acute form of malnutrition, especially with wasting and overweight. So as livelihood coping strategies move from crisis to emergency level of food insecurity, we discovered that the children were more, the nutritional vulnerability were more simple.
Thank you. Upinda Sahota.
Hi, everyone. I will talk about vitamin A deficiency, which is prevalent globally, predominant in South Asia, including India, and not just affects women, children, and vulnerable populations, but also the adolescents who are often the ignored group. Nationally represented dietary and biomarker surveys often serve as the sources of estimation of vitamin A deficiency, based on which policy and programmatic decisions are taken in the country. But do these surveys actually answer the seasonality question? Is vitamin A deficiency same in January than what it would be in June? And is it affected by the availability and consumption of vitamin A rich foods? And how does it affect the policy, programmatic decisions? How does it affect the interpretation of the existing surveys and the future survey designs? To get to know more about what innovative methods we used and these interesting results that you can see, come to my poster number 16. Thank you.
Jeff Leroy.
Diets shift at rapid rate, but does the setting shape the plate? Adolescents key to see how their choices come to be. Are crowded food spots near and wide? Do diets change with what's supplied? Outlets mapped with GPS, 24-hour recall for diet assessment. Neighborhoods both rich and low showed the same food access flow. Home and school environments varied in their food contents. Unhealthy more near the school. Deep fried foods make students drool. But food intake remained the same regardless where outlets came. Thus we find environment may not drive each food event.
Wow, that's a first for the Energy Academy. Okay, so we come to our online presenters. We got 5 of them. Are they all online now? Okay, Jessica Gordon.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So in Tanzania, we see increased market-oriented farming, plus at the same time, various complex food insecurity and malnutrition challenges and social inequalities, such as gender. So this piece of research, which is a sub-study of the CGIAR Fresh initiative, fills an important evidence gap by examining what the food and nutrition-related inequities are linked to crop commercialization models in the Arusha region. Study adopts a mixed methods design, combining analysis of household survey data with qualitative interviews and focus groups. Whilst quantitative analysis is ongoing, what the qualitative findings show is that whilst commercial farming can enhance household income, improve access to diverse food and nutrition security, these benefits are often highly unevenly distributed within communities. So we see social inequities plus broader structural determinants that are influencing and moderating who benefits and to what extent. Smallholders in particular are facing material inequities compared to larger scale producers. So policies must target these equity dimensions to avoid reinforcing existing inequities. Please come to poster number 19 for more details. Thank you.
Samira Chaudhry.
Hi everyone. So this study examines the association between neighborhood food environment and consumption of fruits and vegetables and ultra-processed foods in 3 rural districts in South Asia, Nalanda, Rangpur, Rajshahi, using transforming agri-food systems in South Asia data, the TAFSA data. So multiple logistic regression models are used to examine relationships of interest adjusted for covariates. Higher density of fruit and veg shops is associated with higher odds of regular consumption of fruit and veg and lower odds of regular UPF consumption. An increase in the average selling market price of fruit and veg is associated with lower odds of regular consumption of fruit and veg. So our findings suggest that higher density of fruit and veg shops with affordable fresh produce is associated with the greater prevalence of regular fruit and veg consumption in rural South Asia. Food environment interventions aimed at increasing the presence of fruit and veg shops selling fresh produce at lower prices may facilitate healthier diets. Please come to poster 19 to check it out.
Ms. Sawat Gabrabeskel.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. As you know, diets are changing rapidly, leading to a shift in the food environment. So understanding context-specific food environment is very important, especially among adolescents, where they are greatly influenced by their surrounding. So in our study, we focused on exploring how adolescents perceive and interact with their food environment. We used a qualitative participatory video making approach in which adolescents, they captured their food environment by their own using a smartphone. Some of our study's preliminary findings show that adolescents primarily, they consume food at home. However, there is a difference in the level of engagement among adolescent boys and girls with their food environment. So if you are interested to learn more about this difference, please watch the video that's posted on the YouTube, and then you can find the link on the poster. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott Drinney.
Hello, everyone. South African policy for 3 decades has elevated the role of small-scale farmers to supply schools, early childhood development centers, local markets. These policy directives are laden with assumptions. In a particular area in eThekwini and in the southeastern seaboard of South Africa, we explore the relationships, the pathways between farmers and ECDs and reveal these assumptions, old notions of extension, paternalistic government officials, the notion of dependency, all undermining the supply, the adequacy, the quality of food that is able to be provided. Visit our presentation and our posters and related ones by Lara Kasu to really understand the policy opportunities that lie in South Africa. Thank you.
And last but not the least, Joe Piper.
Hi there. So I'm Joe. I'm presenting from Jitamba Institute in Zimbabwe, and really we're looking at the missing middle of child health, assessed holistically, very much building on today's session, looking at cognitive growth and physical function. And if you look at the pictures at the bottom, you can see beyond anthropometry, we're looking at fat and lean mass, but also simple literacy and numeracy, measures done with the Ministry of Education, a little computer game and hand grip strength. And we really see that having done 1,000 children in the SHINE cohort, we see that early marker of stunting, but also impacts on cognitive function, on grip strength. And please check out all the materials which are free on Open Science Framework, or contact me on j.piper@qmul.ac.uk or j.piper@jitambo.com. Very happy to share these tools to look at the real impacts on food and nutrition holistically within children. Thank you.
Let's give another round of applause to all of our poster presenters. That is a hard job. So that was a really great job. Well done.